Hey guys, Snake here. Do you guys want to learn about Android development? Well, look no further. I got just the video for you. In today's video, we are simply going to look at how to design a bare bones Android application just so you can get started with it. So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, 2 points to cover, right? Okay. Point number 1 is that I hope that you are well acquainted with Java, okay, or any other object-oriented programming language, because you see, Android development uses the Java language and runs on the JVM, and for that you need to be acquainted with Java. So if you do not know it, I recommend that you first learn that and then come and watch this video, okay. And point number 2 is that you see, generally, I normally use a hardware phone in order to run these developed apps. But for this purpose, for showing you in this video, I'm going to use the inbuilt emulator that is present in Android Studio. Because currently, I do not have the setup to display or figure out a way to show my hardware phone to you on the video, basically. So this is what I'm going to use. You can easily access this place by going to this button here, the device manager, where there will be a list of devices, or you can make one from this plus sign here, create a virtual device. You can also access this option from here, tools, under the device manager. Okay, the same window will open up. So with that covered, we are going to go into Android development. So guys, let's look at how do you make a new project. Okay, you go to files and you create a new project here, and you select an empty activity. See here, this empty views activity here. You click on next, and then you give a name for your project, and you change the save location of it, and here you select Java. Okay, and then the minimum SDK. This is basically the level of Android you are developing your application for. Okay, so right here now I have chosen Oreo here, which is Android 8.1. You can choose whichever you want. That's up to you, your personal preference. And then you click on finish, and a new project will be created where you can do your Android development. Okay. So guys, in Android development, there are three key things to know. Okay. The first being layout, activity, and intent. Now, what are these three things? So, to understand that, we have to see through an example. Okay, let's for example say take the YouTube application in your phone. Okay, open it and see it for yourself. You see, when you first open it, you will get a page with a list of all the videos in your recommendation list. Okay, that is basically the layout. Okay, see that it is ordered in a list fashion with a thumbnail and the name of the video and all the information associated. That is basically the layout. And the layout inside Android application are an XML file, okay, which basically holds how the various components are arranged in the UI. Basically, it's basically handles the UI. That's what I'm trying to say here. Okay, now the next thing is the activity. It's basically a Java class, okay, a .java file. Now what this is, it basically handles all the programming capabilities of the application. Like say, when you click the video, it runs the video, this shows the video, or you click on the options list and it loads the options for you. It's basically the backend part of it. Okay, that's the gist of it. It's the backend that handles everything. And finally, the last thing is the intent, and it is basically an object, a Java object. And what this intent is basically it connects all the pages together in your application. You see, a particular page, say the YouTube page that you opened up first, it's basically a combination of the layout and the activity joined together. Now, let's say you click on the options page, or you say you go to the subscription page. Now, that will be a different layout and a different activity. Now, in order to go from one activity to another or one page to another, you need an intent. And that is how an Android application actually works. Now you can chain this together to different things, say another layout plus activity, and that again goes back to the front, and all of this are chained together with intents basically. And this is the fundamental of Android development. Okay guys, so guys, let's first look at the layout. Okay, here you can access the layout in the resource directory. Here you see on the left hand side there is an res folder here, and under that there is layout, and inside that there is a .xml file called activity main. This is how the layouts are stored in Android apps. Okay, so let's open it. Okay, and this is what it will look like at first. Okay, now, if any one of you is acquainted with game development or a game engine or say 3D modeling like applications like Blender or Maya, then you know what this is. You basically have a list of components here and a main tree that is associated with the layout. And any component you want, you drag and drop under the tree or in the page itself, and you can use that in whatever way you want. Okay, so but this is basically for the design purposes, but what the file actually looks like is this. It's all an XML file after all, and each component here is named here, and certain attributes associated with that are added to those particular components here. Okay, so back to the design segment. Okay, for our application purposes we are going to change the design. Okay, so let's delete this and let's add a new text view here, and we are going to type in the word hello, HELLO, word. Here in the text attribute you put in the value text you want to display in the text view, and here top down is an ID that you can change or cannot change. I'm going to change for my use, and I'm going to name it text VIEW, text view. Okay, make sure to refactor it. It's going to change all the names where that was used previously throughout your entire project. Okay, now once you have placed a component here, you need to add constraints to it. Okay, you can go either here or you can add constraint through this constraint widget here. You can click on the plus buttons here, and it will add constraints to it. Now what constraints basically does, it's basically fix the position of that component in the entire UI. So when it is rendered in a mobile application of different sizes, it does not break apart basically. That is why there are no fixed, how shall I put it, fixed pixel values associated with it, but rather constraints associated with it. So likewise, I'm going to also add a button here. Okay, and similarly going to add constraints to it. I'm going to change the name of the button. Say I'm going to call it click, and I'm going to change the ID of it. Okay, refactor it, and for a most bare bones basic UI, this is done. Plus, I'm not a UI guy, so don't ask me to make a good looking UI. This is all you are going to get from me. Okay, now this is the layout part of this done. Okay, so in order to see what it actually looks like, let's run it. Okay, here I'm going to run this application with the run app button on the top here, my phone or the virtual device selected. Okay, the application is loaded, and this is what it looks like. See, as I made the design, it so appears here. There is a hello world text on top and the button click at the bottom of it. See guys, so guys, now we are going to look at the activity, or in another term for it is the context part of it. Okay, so this is the screen or the main Java file that you are going to use to write the activity part of it, the backend part of it, where you programmatically handle the different components that we rendered on the layout section. Okay, so like any Java application that you have built previously, you will see you have to define a class for it. Here it is main activity because the file name is main activity. But inside, in normal Java application, you used to write what is called the main function, but here you write a onCreate function. It's basically a function present in this app compact activity class which you are overriding basically, and this will basically handle all the programmatical logic you want to write down. Okay, so the main thing here is this line. Okay, all these other line are simply, how shall I put it, for UI purposes. Like here you can see that it is setting padding and all that, so you can ignore it, but I'm going to leave it just as it is because it's going to make it look good. But the main line here is this set content view, and you see here it is going to the layout directory, and it is calling the activity main, which is the name of the XML file here. So what it is doing is basically associating the XML layout file with this Java class. So remember, when I showed you a layout plus an activity, that line is what it is actually doing for you. So inside this activity now, I'm going to call in all those components that I have rendered before. Okay, so let's get programming, guys. So the first thing was the text view, right? So text, here is the text view, and I'm going to call it txt for now. And there is an inbuilt function that you can use to call in those layout components. Okay, it is called find view by id here. Okay, so from this I am going to call in the text view component that I placed in the layout. Okay, see, and sometimes you'll see this class will not get loaded, so you can simply just hover over it, see the error, and click on import class there. Right now it has already been loaded, so I don't have to worry about that. So let's continue. And the next component was a button, right? butt open, and let's call it button click. Okay, so similarly I'm going to find view by id, going to get the button click component. So both components are loaded into the activity, and now I'm going to use it. Okay, so let's take the text one and see what I can make changes to it, make it fun. Okay, I'm going to set its text to say hello user. Okay, and now for the button I'm going to add a functionality when it will be clicked. So how do you do that as well? So button click, you call the function called the set on click listener. Okay, and inside you create a new view dot on click listener. Okay, you see, like the overriding function, it is overriding the on click function here, and inside here you can add any functionality you want. Okay, I'm going to copy paste this and add something new to it. Okay, mm, I'm going to write it snake. Okay, so let's save it and let's run this activity. Okay, just like we did before. Okay guys, the activity is loaded. You see here, the function actually ran. It changed the name into hello user, which was previously hello world. You see, so let's test the button as well. Okay, let's click on the button. It turned into hello snake. So our app is working, guys. So guys, now we are going to make a second page for our application. Okay, so let's first make a new layout file. Okay, here I'm going to call it, say, page 1.xml. Okay, now Here we are going to make certain changes, but first let's make a new Java class. Okay, so as for the Java class, I'm going to call it, say, next page. Okay, with these two ready, now let's get on changing these two files. Okay, for the class file, I'm going to copy and paste all of this and paste it in the new Java class. Okay, because it's going to be the same roughly. I'm going to just remove all of this, and this needs to be changed with the new layout file name. Okay, so that was page 1. See? Oh, and I need to also copy the inheritance. Wait, copy and paste. Done. Now it's going to work perfectly. And this is now, oh yeah, and this needs to be changed as well, but that depends on how I design the layout. So I'm going to wait on that. So onto the page 1 XML. Okay, right now it is completely blank and there is nothing, but let's compare it with the previous activity main XML. Okay, you will see there are certain texts here that are necessary for us. Okay, one of them is this line, which basically relates this XML file to the Java class. Okay, so we are going to copy that. Copy and then paste here. Okay, and you will see this error pop up, but that is just because you also have to copy this tools line as well. Okay, once that is done, it will work perfectly. See, the error went away. Now with this done, let's go to the design section and let's design this new one. Okay, now I'm going to give it an ID of, say, a main. Oh no, let's not give it the name main because the main was used in the previous layout. Let's call it next main. Now that is funny. Okay, so for the layout, I'm just going to add a new text view and write in this, say, what shall I put in it? Hello, hello, everyone. Now that would be funny. Now for the ID, let's just make it next text. Okay, refactor it, and I guess the basic layout of it is done. Let's add the constraints as well. Done. So the layout part of it is done. It's simple. Now for the programmatical part. Okay, now here obviously it's not going to be main anymore, it's going to be our next main. So with that changed and the layout here changed to page 1, now this Java class is completely associated with the new layout that we have designed. Okay, now so like previously, we are going to add in the new text view. Okay, find UI ID r.id dot next text. Now we got an instance of that component as well. Now let's go write the intent on the main activity. Okay, so on that button click that I showed you before, I'm going to add something new to it. Okay, let's call it intent. Okay, and give it a name, say I. Now this will be a new intent, and here I have to pass in this main activity object. So I pass in this main activity dot this, and I also need to pass in this next page class to it. Okay, now if you hover over this intent, you'll find all the arguments that you can pass down to it. I am currently going to use this, the context page, which is basically the activity dot main, activity main dot this, and then the class. Okay, so that will be next page dot class. Okay, with this the intent has been created. Now all I need to do is start the activity. Here is the start activity button, and I'm going to pass in this intent to it. Okay, now you might think that it is done and it will work properly, but there is one little caveat to it. You see, there is a file in an Android application called the manifest file. Here you can see the top here, the Android manifest file. And what it is, it's basically uh, a manifest. Basically it holds information about all the activities present here. Okay, so you see, this is the first file that your Android application will look up and arrange things accordingly. So you have to add all the list of activities that are present in your Android application. So since I have made a new activity, that new activity is not present in the manifest file, so I have to add something, I have to add it to it as well. So again, likewise, I have to change this to next page. Then this will no longer be main, this will be view here, and this will not be a category launcher one because the first one is the launcher one. I will just set it to default. Okay, so with that done, let's run the application. Okay, okay, the application is loaded. Okay, so let's click on it. See, the activity page changed, it loaded the new layout file. Okay, so this is how you design an Android application. Remember guys, three little things: layout, activity, and intent. And with these three, you can design any Android application and go through from one page to another and add as functionality as you want to suit your needs. So guys, now you all know how to make your own Android applications. Isn't that neat? So please do design your own Android apps and tell me about it in the comment section. Okay. With this, I end my video today. Please like and share my videos and subscribe to my channel. Okay. So with that, one final thing to say: to learn, never memorize. Bye bye.